Alright, what's happening? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores coming with a Rico report. We have to discuss everything that went down with mandatory mini camps on day one. Rivera addresses the Chase Young situation. Is Antonio Gibson healthy and back? Who are some of the notable starters and depth charts that we're starting to see with who's on the field at certain times? Who's standing out in practices, whether it be in a good way or a bad way? Some of the notable quotes from all of the press conferences today, and just a full in-depth breakdown and analysis of everything that's gone down today. Because Chase Young even had some interesting things to say at his initial press conference. But before we get into all of that, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, man. Hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification every time I release an informative and opinionated video like this one. Be on the lookout for my film sessions for the entire rookie class, and definitely go check out the rest of the channel. I have all of my videos organized in playlists. I even have a comedy playlist for all of my funny videos, so make sure y'all go check all of those out. Definitely make sure you subscribe, and without further ado, man, let's get it. Alright, so first I want to start with the injuries and absences like I usually start, like how we did with the OTAs when I broke those down. First of all, Rivera says that Curtis Samuel is still dealing with a groin issue, so there may need to be some red flags on that. He's been dealing with that for at least a week now. And then Jimmy Moreland and John Bostic had excused absences today. We don't know exactly why they weren't there, but it was excused. But yeah, the Curtis Samuel injury is a little bit scary. He missed the last get-together at OTAs because of that groin injury. And the reason it's a little scary is because during OTAs, even with the groin injury, he would be like on the side of the field with all of the other injured players, like working out or just standing around and chilling. But today, as in Tuesday, first day of mandatory minicamp, Samuels wasn't around at all. And Rivera didn't really seem concerned when he was speaking on Curtis Samuel and his injury. But we'll see. I mean, the week one season opener is still months away, so it's probably nothing big concerning the regular season, but I do want Curtis Samuel as healthy as possible as soon as possible so that he can gain chemistry with both Taylor Heinicke and Ryan Fitzpatrick before the season even gets here. I don't want it to seem like we just signed Curtis Samuel week one. I want him to be able to participate in mandatory mini camps, training camps, and all of that. But on the positive side of injuries, Antonio Gibson looks like he got his bounce and his quickness back. Remember, he sustained that turf toe injury early December, and then he was playing on it late December. He wasn't completely himself, but I mean, at least he was out there. And then during OTAs, he was doing drills here and there, and he definitely looked better than he did in late December. But he still wasn't 100%, and he may still not be 100% right now, but he completely has his bounce and quickness back. Maybe there's still some pain, but as far as how he looks with cutting and things like that, oh, he looks like full-blown Antonio Gibson. And then just an update on Landon Collins. He more than likely won't be ready to be able to fully participate in practices until training camp. So of course during OTAs and even today as far as mandatory mini camps, he's just working off and to the side, just running around doing individual drills without a helmet and things like that. And now moving on to some starter projections and some interesting depth chart projections as well. Because right now, there's honestly no quarterback competition for first team reps. It's literally just Ryan Fitzpatrick getting all of them. And then it's just a battle for second team between Heinicke and Kyle Allen, which I'm pretty sure Heinicke's gonna win. Heinicke's just way better than Kyle Allen. I don't even think it's close. But that's really interesting to know that Ryan Fitzpatrick has a lock on the first team reps. Hopefully when we get to training camp, they allow Taylor Heinicke to get some of those as well, but we'll see. Right now, it's not looking like a very honest quarterback competition, not a very open one, but we'll see. Then also, since Jimmy Moreland wasn't there today, Cameron Curl got a lot of looks at slot corner today. And remember, he's versatile enough to do that. He can cover tight ends, running backs, slot receivers. He can play strong safety, play on the deep end and like cover 3, cover 4. I mean, Cameron Curl can pretty much do just about anything in the secondary except for be just a true single high center fielder free safety type of guy. But that's where this guy comes in. Bobby McCain, my guy, my projected day one starter for free safety on this team, was getting most of the work at free safety with the first group. so he was pretty much starting there. And then DeShazer Everett also got some first team looks at free safety as well, but it's reported that it was mainly Bobby McCain's job during practices. And then Cameron Curl, like we expected, finally worked at the strong safety position when DeShazer Everett was starting at free safety. So again, Cameron Curl's everywhere. He can do everything. And then offensive line wise, the starters, the guys working with the first group, Charles Leno at left tackle, Wes Schweitzer at left guard, Chase Roulier at center, Brandon Sheriff at right guard, and Cornelius Lucas at right tackle. And then it's interesting too because like during that first group right there, Cameron Curl was near the line, again like at slot, and then Cole Holcomb was in the middle and Jamin Davis was kind of outside near Cameron Curl. So that's interesting that Jamin Davis was getting all of this Mike linebacker work during every week of OTAs and rookie minicamps and things like that. But now the first day of mandatory minicamps, Jamin Davis was more outside. And then for the second group, Sadiq Charles was at left tackle, Eric Flowers was at left guard. That's really interesting. Samuel Cosme at right tackle. That's really interesting to keep track of. Sadiq Charles can play both left tackle or left guard, whichever one you want. And then David Mayo was the second team Mike since John Bostic was not there. Not really much to read into as far as that goes, but I mean, it's interesting that David Mayo is with the second team. That sounds like he's quite likely to make the roster. And then lastly, as far as like depth charts and starter things like that, of course this isn't the starter part, but Trey Apke is continuing to get snaps at corner. So that's definitely like a real concept right there. Still doubt that he makes the team, but it's interesting to see that they're trying him at corner because they already know like safety's just not going to work out. And I'm assuming they're doing this because they love his special teams ability. The way that he plays on special teams coverage, I guess they don't want to lose a guy like that. And they're like, man, please just show us something on the defensive side of the ball, not just special teams. So they're trying him at corner because they already know safety is just a failed mission. Now let's move on to the standout plays and players. First up, 2 plays in the team drills. Chase Young is already dominating. I mean, he didn't miss a step. On the offense's first pass play of team drills, he rushed past 2 blockers before getting in Ryan Fitzpatrick's face. And of course, he let up at the last second because there's no contact during minicamp, but I mean, he would have killed Ryan Fitzpatrick if this was just a regular game. If this was like an exhibition game where we didn't care about hurting the quarterback, Chase Young would have killed Ryan Fitzpatrick. And to repeat, he went past 2 blockers to get to him. Speaking of Ryan Fitzpatrick, him and Adam Humphries just have this chemistry, which is expected from their work together for a couple of years in Tampa Bay. Ryan Fitzpatrick sidearmed a pass to him, so their connection is strong. Adam Humphries knows where Ryan Fitzpatrick wants him, and Ryan Fitzpatrick knows how to throw the ball to where it's easy for Adam Humphries to haul it in. But also, standout wise in a bad way for Ryan Fitzpatrick is that, first of all, he's already been picked off a couple of times so far in offseason workouts. But today's interception was probably the worst one. In 9-on-9 drills, Fitzpatrick dropped back, scrambled left a little bit, and then threw one over the middle without setting his feet. And then the ball sailed on him, and William Jackson was right there to snag it, of course. I mean, William Jackson's about to go crazy for us. I don't think people understand how much of a difference having a true lockdown corner makes for a defense that was already top 3 in most statistical categories last season. We're only going to get better. But back to Ryan Fitzpatrick. After that interception, when they went back to 11-on-11 drills, he went 5 for 5, throwing to Steven Sims, Terry McLaurin, Gibson, Tamarick Hemingway, and DeAndre Carter. That's interesting to hear that DeAndre Carter is actually getting offensive snaps, because he was brought in primarily as like a returner, which is pretty much what he's done for the Texans and the many teams he's been on. But we're giving him a chance to see what he can do at receiver. If he can end up being a pretty good receiver, that drastically increases his chances of making the roster, because I feel like they will prioritize who can go out there and play receiver first and just figure out special teams return game later on. Maybe get like Adam Humphries, Dax Milne, or somebody else to return kicks if it comes to that. Maybe even Jared Patterson. And now back to William Jackson. Had an opportunistic play where he picked off Ryan Fitzpatrick, like I talked about, when he overthrew John Bates. And of course, Chris Harris, I mean, one of the most hyped coaches on the team, was yelling, we got one after the interception. The DB group is always super hype after they make a play. It's so fun. But even after that interception, near the end of practice, William Jackson completely locked up Antonio Gandy Golden. And I'm not gonna lie, it's looking ugly for him right now as far as making the team. He's already on the outside looking in. And now granted, he's going against the best corner on the team, one of the best corners in the division, one of the best corners in the NFL. But at the end of the day, he's going to have to go against the best of the best when he plays on Sundays anyway, so there's no excuses. But Antonio Gandy Golden got locked up in a goal line one-on-one scenario by William Jackson. I mean, AGG just couldn't find any daylight, any separation, but Ryan Fitzpatrick threw it anyway just to give AGG a chance, and of course the pass was incomplete. So Ryan Fitzpatrick is just throwing the ball out there. That's where a lot of his interceptions are coming from anyway. Not specifically today's, because again, today's was an overthrow because he didn't set his feet, but Ryan Fitzpatrick has just been throwing the ball up there and seeing if his receivers can make a play, because that's what you should do in practice. These interceptions don't cost us anything right now. And of course you want to play your best, but you also want to give receivers a chance to show what they can do and to see if you can just trust them to go up there and make a play. Sadly, Antonio Gandy Golden was not able to. Going back to the defensive side of the ball, 7th round draft pick William Bradley King nearly had an interception by jumping in the way of a Heineke pass. But Heineke at the last second adjusted his throw and was able to complete the pass. And we're going to dive into Heineke real soon because he was making play after play today. But it's really interesting to know that William Bradley King may actually be able to truly contribute early on, like Martin Mayhew said shortly after we drafted him when people were questioning us taking 2 edge rushers with Ryan Kerrigan still possibly coming back to the team. Ryan Kerrigan's gone to the Eagles, and William Bradley King already looks like he can contribute early on as a depth piece edge rusher. And then while Antonio Gandy Golden is not looking too good out there, Cam Sims is out there balling. He's been balling in OTAs and mandatory mini camps. He made a very impressive catch from Heineke today. I mean, he had to literally come back into coverage to catch the pass, and he brought it in, contested and all. But speaking of Heineke, one play he had to scramble to keep the play alive, and he threw it to an open Antonio Gandy Golden, and the players loved it. Logan Thomas and Samuel Cosme celebrated with him. I mean, it was definitely one of those plays where, like, Heineke's probably the only guy on our team that could have made that play type of thing. Maybe Ryan Fitzpatrick, but Heineke's definitely slightly more athletic. And there was even one play where the snap was high and Heineke had to haul it in. He was bobbling it a little bit, trying to bring it in, and he was still able to get rid of it on a screen on schedule. And if it weren't for his athleticism and improvisation skills, this would have easily have been a huge loss, especially like in a regular Sunday game. So Taylor Heineke still showing that he's something special out there, even in practices already. And then De'Ami Brown looks really good, catching everything thrown to him, knows how to track the ball well off of his back shoulder. Like, it's just natural, like it's just an easy thing to do. I mean, De'Ami Brown makes difficult things look easy, and that's what you love to hear. John Bass is doing similar things as well. Then also Jared Patterson. Randy Jordan said that he didn't even expect Jared Patterson to be this natural of a pass catcher. He said watching his tape, he just didn't expect Jared Patterson to be this good in the passing game. So Jared Patterson is not only surprising people in 11-on-11 drills with his cuts and his ability to find the open hole and things like that, but he's also looking like the complete running back and is making easy catches out of the backfield. Might have one of the draft's biggest steals in Jared Patterson, because again, he wasn't even drafted. He was an undrafted free agent, so that's just crazy value right there. And then lastly, as far as standouts go, Steven Sims stood out in a bad way, because there was one play where he hauled in a bubble screen. He had blockers in front of him close to the goal line, but he just tried to make some weird cut inside for some reason instead of just continuing to the sideline, and then he ran right into the back of a fellow receiver. And then Drew Terrell, the assistant wide receivers coach, was yelling at him and said, "You can't be allergic to touchdowns, man." So Steven Sims, not a good impression out there, man. You already on the outside looking in, you're already on the short leash. You can't make easy things difficult. You have blockers in front of you for an easy touchdown, and you wanted to go out there and make something out of nothing, and then it resulted in you not getting a touchdown. That's an easy way to not make the team right there, man, I'll tell you. Now let's move on to notable quotes. First up, Ron Rivera had a lot of notable things to say. First of all, like I presumed in my training camp breakdown video where I give y'all all of the dates and times and important things about training camp, so all the information you need to know, he did confirm that Washington football team will practice in Richmond for a week literally because of fans. Not because of players, not because of coaches, nothing. Literally only because of fans. He said we want to make sure that all of those fans know that we care about them. And that's what's up, man. Ron Rivera, that's good looks right there. I mean, I'm in Atlanta, so it doesn't affect me much, but I love to hear that he cares about the fans and even makes decisions around what the fans want. That's great, because he didn't have to do that. Also, Rivera said this year's OTAs feel much more normal compared to last year. There's still some COVID-19 protocols they need to abide by, but seeing people face to face gives them a chance to know them better. So things are definitely getting back to normal. And like I've already reported in several videos, all but 2 NFL teams have already said that there will be full fan attendance at games, preseason games as well, not even just regular season. So football is almost completely back to normal. We've already seen with the NBA playoffs that fans are pretty much in full attendance to most of those games. So it looks like sports is finally getting back to normal. Rivera also said, this is something to watch out for, that when he puts on tape, he looks for who's playing fast, who's developing, and who's growing. So whoever's out there playing the fastest and showing real improvement, kind of like Cameron Curl last offseason before he broke out and ended up being a really good steal for us in the draft, just know that whoever's looking the fastest has the best chance of making the team. Rivera also said that OTAs are voluntary. He doubled down on that, and he said that he knew that Chase Young had a full plate. And Chase Young, we're going to talk about that a little later, but went on to expound upon that, basically talking about that he has photo shoots here, he has endorsements here, like he's had to be everywhere. And like I said earlier, I mean, second play of practice, Chase Young is going past 2 blockers to get what would have been a sack if we weren't protecting the quarterback. Like Chase Young, he's good. Him missing OTAs did not matter. Rivera also said that Chase Young had been in and out of the facility before mandatory minicamp, and he was working out with his teammates. So it's not like he was just completely separated. He just wasn't at OTA specifically. And Ron Rivera said, quote, "It's not like he hasn't been working out." And again, like we've seen already just in first days of mandatory minicamp, Chase Young looks like he didn't miss a step at all. He didn't need OTAs. His leadership would have been nice, but it is what it is. And Rivera even addressed that. He said that Chase Young looks very good during his first appearance at the offseason program, but then he also joked that he thinks that he needed to reintroduce himself to some folks. And Chase Young even talked about in his press conference, there was a moment where Jamin Davis looked at him and said, "Man, you're real serious, huh?" When Chase Young was telling Jamin Davis and others to run off the field at practice, don't just walk, run. And Chase Young's response was, "This may matter one day. We get into real game situations. You can't be jogging, you can't be walking. You need to sprint off the field. You don't want to get too many men on the field penalties." But I'm telling y'all that just to reiterate that Chase Young's leadership is in a full go right now. He's making his presence felt, his voice heard. He is out there. Again, it's like we didn't even miss a step. Chase Young also has some interesting things to say about his injuries. He said his hip was messed up before the opener last year. We didn't really know about that. We knew the groin, which was bothering him early into the season, but he also had a hip injury. So basically he went into the last regular season not even 100% healthy, and he said that his priority this year, this offseason, was to be 100% healthy. He's even looking for alternative ways to make sure that he's 100% healthy. He said, quote, "I did a lot of stuff with my feet." I mean, he's doing toe pushes and everything. He said he's even started from the bottom with wearing no shoes when he works out and things like that. Said he's had ankle problems since Ohio State. And then he said, quote, "I don't believe I'm gonna have ankle problems no more." So I'm excited to hear that. So last year, Chase Young wasn't even 100% fully healthy Chase Young, and he's taking the necessary steps, even doing some extra things, going out of his way to make sure that he's 100% healthy and ready to go this upcoming season. I'm excited. And speaking of Chase Young, Charles Leno, our projected starting left tackle, also said that Chase Young will be very, very good for a long time because of the way that he reacts and that he's just playing ball. And that's one thing you love to see in a young player. So basically, football is just natural to Chase Young. He's just going out there and doing what he does. He's not having to overthink. It's just natural to him. And that's great to hear from the opposing position. I mean, Chase Young is an edge rusher. Charles Leno is a left tackle. They literally go against each other in game day situations. So to hear somebody that's pretty much his rival on the team give him compliments like that, that's great to hear. Especially since Charles Leno was a 2018 Pro Bowler. He's not just some random guy. Charles Leno has talent. Charles Leno also addressed the fact that he was caught off guard by Chicago releasing him. He said he likes the setup here. He says, "I look good in burgundy and gold. It fits my complexion very well." That's pretty funny. And then Washington tight ends coach Pete Honer said that he thinks Logan Thomas is literally one of the top 5 to 7 tight ends in the league. Who's to argue against him? I definitely feel like he should have made the Pro Bowl over Evan Ingram last year. He even said, quote, "In the ideal world, you want 3 Logan Thomases out there." And that's a great compliment, man. We may have another one in John Bates. We'll see. And then Steven Montez, with his first time ever doing a press conference, with this being his second year on the team, when he first sat down, he said, "Where do I look?" Like, I mean, he didn't even know where to look at to talk to when doing his Zoom meeting. This is his first time doing one, so that's pretty funny and interesting. But then also he said that this was his first time he's had the same playbook 2 years in a row in his just football career in life, college, everything. So that's nice to hear that he's finally had some continuity. I know he's excited about that. And then he also said that he's itching to play. He ran routes. I mean, he's doing anything to stay busy. He said, quote, that's up to them when it comes to a possible different role. And again, it's been reported that they're trying him in like a Taysom Hill-like role, wildcat, things like that at the quarterback position. They've been letting him run special teams drills. And now he's out there running routes on the side by himself just so that he's ready to do whatever they ask him to do. That definitely increases his chances of making the roster over Kyle Allen for sure. Kyle Allen, with his familiarity with the playbook, and he's a slightly better thrower and decision maker than Steven Montez is just purely at quarterback. But Steven Montez has the versatility. So we'll see who makes the roster between those two as far as that goes. And then assistant wide receivers coach Terrell raved about Cam Sims in his press conference, said that he's the glue of the group. He said, quote, he became a true pro last year. We relied on him a ton. He's done a fantastic job. He's one of the smartest guys in the room as far as being able to move him around. So he's very versatile, slot, X, Y, Z, whatever. And then he also said that he's really excited for Cam and what's ahead. So it sounds like Cam Sims is impressing mightily in offseason workouts so far. And his roster spot may be safe. It may be Taylor Heineke, De'Ami Brown, Curtis Samuel, Cam Sims, and then we work from there to see who's the last couple of spots. Dax Milne, Adam Humphries, Antonio Gandy Golden, Kelvin Harmon, Steven Sims. I hope Kelvin Harmon is one of the 6. I really do. And then Washington assistant offensive lines coach Travell Warden spoke on whether Sadiq Charles is a better fit at guard or tackle. He said, quote, he can play both. He has the quickness to play on the outside and has the strength to play on the inside. He's a big asset for us. And that's huge, man. I mean, when it comes to injuries just happen in football. It's just a thing. And to have a guy that can play at a high level at tackle or guard, can plug in anywhere, is a huge secret weapon. Like, that's not easy to find. Then also tight ends coach Pete Honer said that he's seen Sammis Reyes make some excellent catches so far in offseason workouts. Says some drops are just a result of getting used to running routes and looking back through the D for the ball. So it's basically just concentration and nuance and things like that. But he said for someone who hasn't played football before, he has great hands, and that's great to hear. I love the fact that Sammis Reyes is out here sounding like he may be something. I'm really excited for Sammis Reyes' potential. He may not be ready to contribute anything early this season or just this season at all, but I feel like the future of the Washington football team is in great hands with Sammis Reyes' development. I really am excited about his development. It sounds like he's moving along. And again, Pete Honer is the guy that took the Logan Thomas we saw week 1 and turned him into the Logan Thomas we have now. So if he's really high on somebody, you gotta trust it and believe it. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Ended up going even longer than I expected, I'm not gonna lie. But it was a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss, and I'm very excited. This was day 1 of mandatory mini camps. A lot is going down. So I guess I should have expected this video to end up being this long. But hey, either way, please get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please like this video if you liked it, if you learned anything. Again, like I spoke about in the intro, please subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately when I release informative and opinionated videos like this one, when I start up, when I schedule live streams, everything, when I release all kinds of videos. And as always, man, I really appreciate all of the support, man. Big shouts out to everybody that donates to the channel. Big shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors whose names you see scrolling on the screen right now. A special shouts out to my one All-Pro sponsor, Jaden. And as always, man, I really appreciate y'all. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.